In our first installment of Collab Kitbash Competition, Meg, Cire, and Brett put their scratch building skills on display. They've been tasked with creating an everyday citizen from Warhammer 40,000's grim Imperial of Man. Our 3 contestants can use any bits or materials they can get their hands on to bring their creation to life, and there are no restrictions on the size of the base or what they can put on it, so dioramas are fair game. We got together for a build party, and our 3 contestants got to work.
Alright, so I'm going to be building, something that doesn't really exist officially, an enforcer of silence, but maybe less formally an Imperial shusher. And so I was looking for models, and it wasn't really working out, but I did find the Tech Priest Manipulus, and if you look at the model, he's going like this. But I didn't even see one of his fingers, so initially I thought he was actually shushing someone. So it was like the perfect base for the model. It was so perfect, though, that I felt like I could just make the model. That didn't feel like a good enough. It didn't feel like it was kit bashing. It felt like I was just painting a model and saying it was something else. I decided to make it a little more weird. So the first thing I did was I got rid of the face. I know that the Tech Priest Manipulus doesn't really have a face anyway. It's kind of this robotic, like lenses and stuff, but I completely got rid of it. What I want to do is I want to put a statue, right? It's almost like this person who walks around in this suit, but it doesn't really have a person's face. It's almost like something you'd see in like a death mask you'd see at like a funeral in church or something. And I'm thinking I also want to make him floating or flying because, there was 2 options I could go with. He could be someone who's goes around and silences people, and the obvious thing to do would be to make him silent, so floating, flying. And then I could go the opposite direction where he's very loud and has these alarms. And while that would have been funny, I ultimately decided to go with something that's a little more ghostly and creepy because the Imperium's creepy. And I think that would have made more sense.
While Cire opted for something out of a dystopian movie cinema, Brett went with something a little more familiar, but with a grim, dark spin.
For this challenge, I am building an Imperial vehicle mechanic. And so he's got a bunch of tools that he's working with, and so I want to try to create, use bits that I find in different kits to represent some of these tools, but also I think there's probably some sort of smaller tools that I'll have to create by hand. As well, I want to actually sort of create a little mini diorama on the base. And so I'm thinking one of the ideas I had was to use the sort of tripod stand from the Imperial Guard mortar kit as like a jack stand almost, and have a vehicle kind of up on that he's, kind of crawling down underneath and working on. And then to use a combination of bits for the model itself that will represent a mechanic on his back, sort of kind of stretched out, working underneath a vehicle with maybe a tool in his hand or a light or something where he's kind of trying to assess what's going on. When you're working on a project like this, there's kind of tools everywhere and you're kind of in the thick of it. You've got 3 or 4 impatient customers that are waiting on you, and so he's just trying to get this thing back going as quickly as possible. There's tools scattered everywhere. I kind of want to create that vibe of loosely organized chaos that he's just sort of managing to thrive in, so that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. We'll create a little mini diorama on, I'm thinking, a 16 mil base, and we'll see how it comes together.
Meanwhile, Meg's ambitions may have gotten away from her, and what started out as a simple Imperial dandy turned into something more
legitimate businessman. For my Imperial Weirdo, I am going with an Imperial dandy. So I went to Etsy for a Victorian outfit, with a nice top hat, a monocle if I'm lucky, maybe a little gold watch link. Because that's the sort of look I thought would be interesting to try to translate into the grimdark millennium. So the models I got from Etsy pretty much look done. They look like fanciful Victorian men. So that's obviously not going to work. I'm going to have to pull off the parts that I like. So I think that'll be the hat for sure. I'm not sure what else yet. And stick it together with some other Imperial pieces. I also want to include some Assyriani because their features are very like clean cut and nice looking. They're shaved, right? If you were an Imperial man and you were a dandy, you might have a clean face. And I also like the Daughters of Cain. There's some interesting things going on there with their hair that I think I can work with. So I think this guy is gonna probably morph into something a little more regal or high society, maybe. We'll have to see how it all comes together.
Build day came to a close. These three next met on stream to paint their Imperial Weirdos and submit the competition to the whims of YouTube live chat. We let fans decide who was the favorite of the three.
All right, let's end this poll.
Our little slice of Imperial
Yeah,
life.
looks like Imperial Shusher took it.
Yes, he came to silence the competition.
Yeah.
In addition to bragging rights, Cire gets to pick lunch for our next Collab Kitbash competition. We'll see you then.